7.3 billion people on this planet. Half of those people are women. Yet less than 10% of the 193 UN heads of state are women. In the United States, women holding seats in Congress and Senate comprise approximately 20%. In the corporate sector, women in upper management hold about 16% of those positions. And out of the 1.2 million people in the United States military, only 7.1% of the generals are women. Now, I recently attended a women's symposium composed of 100 women from various vocations in the military. Each of us were encouraged to share a little bit about ourselves and what we anticipated from the experience. Many of the young women voiced feelings of isolation, doubt about themselves, their choices, and their hopes for finding mentorship, guidance, and support. In our small group discussions, we discussed some of the feelings of being lost, that you've lost yourself, and others expressed immense guilt, shame, and some self-judgment. This shouldn't be surprising, as just being female increases the vulnerability to poverty, human rights violations, and interpersonal violence. Those uncertainties and reservations seem to directly correlate to the lack of females making it to the top of any profession anywhere in the world. Women are deselecting themselves. They are literally dropping out of the professional rat race. Now, we were fortunate. We were able to hear some of the prominent female leaders who shattered glass ceilings and carved paths for other people to follow. Now, they spoke about how they surmounted discrimination, conquered stereotypes, and found ways to balance family, personal life, and work. They revealed the challenges that they had struggled with professionally, spiritually, and personally. The sacrifices, the triumphs, regrets, and joys, and how they defined what success was for them. Common themes they emphasized was the power of cooperation, unity, diversity, empowerment, and most of all, sisterhood. They highlighted the power of self-acceptance, patience, letting go, and trusting one's own experiences, feelings, and intuition. Now, violence perpetrated against women, pay inequities, unequal access to education, biases in healthcare, overrepresentation of men in positions of power, more responsibility in the home, even if both partners are working, are all examples of the disparities that continue to exist in our society. Now, I currently serve as a counselor to young men and women transitioning from adolescence into adulthood in a structured military academy. And I found that because there's fewer military women in leadership, many female cadets will approach me for mentorship, counseling, and guidance. The theoretical underpinnings of empowered feminist theory provide space for a woman's voice to be heard, learned from, and valued, while the mindfulness therapies focus on slowing down and living in the moment. Channeling this internal resource transforms our chaotic relationships with stress, emotions, pain, and illness. It promotes conscious control of emotions and can reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. When mindfulness and empowered feminist theory are combined, it can positively invoke compassion, assertiveness, advocacy, and healing. Now, the interventions comprised in mindfulness-based feminist therapy promote self-care, support, comfort, and inspiration from others. Utilization of mindfulness-based feminist therapy can be helpful in prevention efforts, assist in adolescents' efforts for development and conceptualization, significantly contributes to increased self-compassion and healing, especially after experiencing violence. The intersect between feminism and mindfulness urge reflection on everything you say and do, and to make sure that they align with your personal belief systems. Now, both of these practices are never fully achieved, but rather processes you engage in from moment to moment. It's a form of self-care, care for your community, and care for those communities that are targeted for daily oppression. Now, mindfulness-based feminist therapy not only helps us in trying to survive, but also thrive when we're faced with challenges in systems or oppression. It is how we regain our sense of self through empathic relationships. Throughout ancient and modern history, women have collaborated and led purposeful action to readdress the inequality in the hopes of a better future for their communities, their children, and for themselves. Wake up and observe the resistance. One example is the movie Hidden Figures, which highlights a visionary trio of women who not only were able to cross over gender lines, but racial lines as well. They inspired generations to dream big, launched an astronaut into outer space, restored the nation's confidence, and galvanized the world. Another example was the protest on International Women's Day 2017, where women were encouraged to stand in solidarity globally through acts of boldness, refusing to shop, or taking the day off. The Women's March was a worldwide protest on January 21st, 2017. Now, this was another example on how women were able to advocate for legislation, policies regarding human rights, and other issues, including women's rights, information reform, healthcare reform, the natural environment, LGBTQ rights, racial equality, freedom of religion, and workers' rights as well. An estimated 4.5 million people participated in the United States, and over 5 million people participated worldwide. Another example was the Pussy Hat Project, which was a national effort. The homemade hats were worn by marchers in Washington, D.C. They were created by crafters who were unable to attend and wished them to be worn by those who could to represent their presence at the march. The name refers to the top corners of the hat resembling cat ears and attempts to reclaim the derogatory term used by Trump in referencing the objectification, sexualization, and promotion of rape culture. Another example would be the No Photoshop Pledge, which petitioned magazines with a focus of an audience of teen girls or women to stop altering pictures and subliminally promoting unrealistic body images in their marketing. Now, I'd like to close this TED Talk with an insightful story that was shared with me by a woman named Nina Armano. Nina told me that when she was a young 26-year-old captain, she was being recognized at a morale banquet for the work she'd been doing with military space satellites. Nina was the only female officer in attendance. The evening was formal but lighthearted. There was plenty of ribbing. A commander who's 3 supervisory levels above her started a mini food fight by throwing dinner rolls at all the young officers. Everybody was throwing rolls, and Nina targeted the commander and with her softball skills nailed him right in the chest. The commander's wife made eye contact with her and gave her a thumbs up in approval. However, the next following business day, she was called in by her immediate supervisor. In her office, he started telling her how disappointed he was in her behavior at the banquet. He advised her to carry yourself like a woman deserving of being an officer's wife. Nina is now a major general. She is a 2-star general and director of strategic plans, programs, requirements analysis for Headquarters Air Force Space Command. She is responsible for developing the strategies, the doctrine, policies for space and cyberspace operations. She literally is defining the future of space and cyberspace operations for the offensive and defensive missions for military satellite communications, precision navigation, timing, space control, and space protection. Whether through bold, documented action or through humble resistance that never made it into the history books, women united for equality and achievement have been victorious. The interventions in mindfulness-based feminist therapy hone a woman's intuition, encourage finding peace and happiness, foster feeling connected to others, urge women to be comfortable in their own skin, and maintains that behind every successful woman is a tribe of successful women who have her back. Thank you.